Alright everyone, so here I have a top cover, center console cover for a Honda Pilot, and just to quickly show you, it's really easy to take off. You take off, this is the inner panel, you take off those 4 screws, see those 4 screw holes, and then that just pops out, and then you take off those 4 screws and that hole comes out. And then last but not least, you take out these 2 screws right here that hold the little clip in, and that's easy. It's just a number 2 Phillips or something similar, real quick. And right now what I'm doing is I am going to tighten up this leather. I know a lot of people have this kind of problem. See how it's real, let me zoom out. See how it's real just loose and nasty. It's easy for it to get snagged and tear that way too. So what we're gonna do is come in here and pull all these. Now I don't know if I have enough cloth here to be able to pull them all. So what I'm doing is I am taking my razor blade here and I'll just put it down into that edge. I don't really care if I get into this leather because no one will see this leather. It'll be hidden. And you get up underneath there. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. Get up underneath that staple. I apologize about the shaky video. I don't have any video equipment with me. And then I just turn it. So I get up underneath it, and then I turn it. See? And now it popped right out. So I'm going to do that to all of them real quick. When I say real quick, it's going to take me a while. As you can see, this is kind of crazy. And then after that, I'm going to use some handy dandy needle nose pliers. Cha-ching. To pull them all. Alright, so I've gotten this side all loose, this side all loose. I'm going to go ahead and get this side loose, but I'm going to leave the front side tight because it actually has a pretty good seal up right up here. And I'm going to see if I can't just stretch that back with one side pinned. Keep it alone. So I've been at it for about 10 minutes. I have killed probably, I don't know, you do the math there, 50 staples or so. And when I'm done, I'll show you. But right now, I'm just coming in here. The tip of my thing snapped off the razor blade. There, you can see it. It's kind of squared off, but that's fine. It actually works up better. And I'm just coming in here and let's see if I can show you this. Keep your fingers clear, but you just come in there and you just lift them. There's one, there's another, there's one. And they take a, little bit, just dig up underneath it. Remember, no one's going to see that leather, so if you put a hole in it, it's not the end of the world. There's already going to be little staple holes anyways, right there. You don't want to tear it up too much because you're going to have to restaple in a similar area, so you don't want to weaken the leather real bad. But some guys recommend just cutting it loose, but since I'm reusing the same leather, I don't feel comfortable with that. I don't know if I'll have enough left. So, anyway, I don't know if you can see that right there, but all those little staples that are pulled out, right there and there and there and there and there. After that, I just grab these pliers and there it is. So, sorry it's a little out of focus. Anyway, I will update here in a second when I get all these finished. Alright, so I've got all these loose around here with the exception of the front side right here. I left it pinned so I can use that to stretch it with. But everything else is loose. It took me about, I'd estimate 15 to 20 minutes depending on how fast you are at it. And then, so now we're going to peel this back. So let me see if I can't get this camera at a better angle to show this to you. Alright, so we're going to peel this back. There is some like adhesive kind of stuff. I've already started to peel it, but you can see. So be careful not to pull too much. This is kind of a foam. You'll want to keep that there. I wouldn't pull it too far back, but you're going to want to pull it back far enough where you can re-stretch. So keep that in mind. If you want to reglue it, you can. I'm not going to. I'm going to just bring it over and then pull it taut and stretch it. So the key is to work from one side to the next. It's not the easiest thing in the world. I may have to take the front side loose just so I can redo it, and already stretched leather is not easy to work with because you gotta start pulling stuff out of it. So as you can see though, it's getting a little better when I start to really stretch on it, but I'll have to pull it and pin it. So I'm gonna get my staple gun and I'm gonna staple the corners up first, or I'm gonna staple one corner up first, tighten that up, then go to the next side, and go to the next side. So what I've done here, I went ahead, you want to pull the corners tight first. Like I left the front pinned, with staples already, so it's got the factory staples in the front. But you want to pull the corners tight first and get those nice and tight. And when you do that, like 90% of all the wrinkling should come out pretty much, except for little bits here and there. Right, so here's this corner's already been stapled, pinned. I just did it. You can see it actually probably needs to be redone and tightened. But you can see there. So it's got a little bit still here, but we'll pull that tight over on this side, and you won't be able to see it very well. So this is not going to be like a brand new deal because this leather is already kind of stretched in weird ways. When you stretch leather like that, it kind of bubbles up, kind of like a plastic almost. This is probably plastic, it's probably leather, but it'll be better than it was. So I'm gonna go ahead and staple this real quick. See, like that. I mean, I'm pulling that very tight, but there's a bubble there. And if I pull the corner up, I can get it out, but then I've left it up top. So it's not gonna go perfect, but it'll definitely go better. So the other option is to use like a contact adhesive and just smooth the bubbles out and then staple it. So that's enough to hold it in place, and then we're gonna pull this tight here. See, I've already got almost all the bubbling out on this whole side here. So, and then last but not least, we're going to pull this. And so, as you can see right now, I'm too loose in this first corner I pinned. So that's why I only put in one staple and I didn't put it in tight. I'm going to pull that staple. When I say tight, it didn't bury all the way. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that staple, and I'm going to re-pull this corner. And I'm going to keep doing this and re-stretching and pinning and re-stretching until it smooths out. That may take some time, but it's pretty much the only thing you can do. And it will never get perfect again unless you put new leather on it, but it'll look better than it did when it was like that. That's kind of how we started. So you're going to keep working this around until I've got this corner I take this corner loose several times, and then I tighten it up, and I'll pull it, and I'll tighten it up, and I'll pull it. And as you're working this leather, it's gonna, sorry, I'm off frame there. As you're working the leather, you're gonna see it start to stretch and tighten up, and you just kind of keep going around. You don't want to put any like buried in staples until you got it where you want it, and then when you got it where you want it, then you bury the staples in. As you can see, I've only got it pinned with, let's see, one staple there, one staple there, one staple there, one staple there, and then one here. So I don't have many staples in it, and then I've got the front still stock. So just, you want to keep stretching it and getting it over it. Now, I left this little front lip stapled, but I'm probably going to end up having to pull that because I've got some stretching this way, and if I don't pull it, it'll show a crease right in there, because this is nice even though it's not stretched. When I stretch this to pull this crease over here out, like this creasing out, it's going to create a crease here. So keep that in mind, that you want to stretch the whole side over. So here it is, restretched. As you can see, I mean, it is not 100% perfect. There's a little tiny bit right there, and then there's some on this side right here, which I'll pull out when I redo this staple right there. But yeah, and then I'm going to pull this back tight. Still working with the original staple there, and as I pull these out, like I said, there it is. Looks 100 times better than it did. As you can see, there's a little drill right there. A pen caught it. That's what made me decide to restretch it anyway. So, all right, I'm going to keep working it. When I get it perfect, we'll put it back in. All right, so as you can see, my staples are still pretty far out, and I'll have to either hammer them in or go get some better staples. But those are T50 staples. I'd recommend getting furniture staples. I'm pretty sure they're the J series. But I wanted to show you right here, after I stretched it, as you can see, these tabs are so long that they're going over the little tabs here. So you're going to need to take a pair of scissors and cut it, so that way you go around these plastic tabs and then you can stretch it fully tight. Here's finished product. I did end up having to glue it, so I used some staples for now. I didn't bury them in all the way, just to hold it in place while the glue is setting. Just use some upholstery glue or something we had around the shop. So anyway, I gotta pull this tight before I'm done. That's the last little bit, but everything else is probably about as tight as it'll get. Maybe able to pull a couple more tight before the glue sets. You want to do that, of course. And as soon as this is done drying, I will install it on the vehicle and I'll show you. Alright everyone, the drying time on the glue is forever, so I'm going to go ahead and start putting it back together. I'm going to go grab the screws and the clip. Okay, so I'm going to leave the staples in because they're not going to hurt anything. First things first, put your clip back on. So it's just these two holes there and there, and then we're just going to grab a Phillips screw, that plastic screw that came with it, and this pretty much sits in its little spot, so you don't have to do much. I like to thread stuff by hand first. Keeps me from stripping out threads, so I generally do this by hand first. So I'll do that, get it kind of in there. Since these were existing threads, it works just fine. And then take our screwdriver. When you're screwing steel into plastic, don't use a drill, please. You'll almost always screw up the threads. It just happens. It's how it is. It's life when it comes to plastic and screws. So I highly suggest you do it by hand. I've tightened these down pretty good. Don't crank them too much, you'll crack the plastic. Just get it nice and snug. Make sure it's working. So it's working. It's doing its thing. So that's good. Next thing's next. Let's go mount it to the car. Alright, so I actually showed a video of me mounting this thing on, but the video acted up. So there's 4 screws in this bracket. There, and there. There's some pins, plastic pins in here that line the bracket up with this, so it makes it pretty easy. And all you're going to do is just, screw it in by hand. And if it feels hard to get the screws to screw in, difficult, then you want to back them out and try again. What you don't want to do is make new threads in the plastic over and over. It will weaken the plastic. There we go. Refocus. Will weaken the plastic. It won't hold as well. So try to get into the same threads you made the first time, so to speak. And then last but not least, We put this panel on right here. Easy as enough. The slots go in the bottom where the little brackets are. And we just snap that in place. And same game. Just, you know, I'll back it in until I find the right groove. Then I screw it down. And then I'm going to crisscross it, so I've got one bottom one and one top one done. We'll do the final 2 screws. And that last screw, you're gonna probably hear everything click in if it hasn't already. And there it is. So there it is in all its glory. Didn't quite get that front wrinkle out perfectly, but I could have if I'd spent more time on it. But as you can see, it looks 100 times better than it did. So now all I gotta do is clean it. All right. Well, I hope that helps somebody out there. And comment or put questions down. Subscribe if you like. I'm gonna try to keep doing these videos.